Hello, student. Welcome to this continued chapter. It is alpha particle scattering experiment. So, Hans Geiger and Ernest Marsden in 1908 conducted an experiment as shown in the figure. These two were the associates of Ernest Rutherford at the Physical Laboratories, France, and in this experiment, a beam of monoenergetic alpha particles emitted from a radioactive substance are allowed to pass through a very thin metal foil of gold. So you can see this in this diagram, a collimated beam of alpha particle is coming from a radioactive substance which is kept somewhere here, and these are monoenergetic. That means all the alpha particles are having the same energy, and they are allowed to fall on this metal foil, a very thin metal foil of gold. So next, what happens? Uh, so the alpha particles are found to be scattered in different directions with respect to the direction of the collimated beam of the incident particles as determined by the detector. So here we have placed the detector to detect the scattered alpha particles, and these collimated beam of alpha particles, after falling on the this gold file, they get scattered from the nucleus of the gold atoms present in this file in a different scatter angles, with different angles. So these rays are scattered all around this gold file, and those scattered alpha particles are detected by this detector, and this detector can move around this gold file at 360 degrees. Such an arrangement is made. So what happens? A majority A majority of the alpha particles, majority of the alpha particles are scattered at small angles, but a small fraction is found to be scattered at large angles, which is greater than 90 degree. You can see this diagram also. This is the collimated beam of alpha particles, and you think that a nucleus of the gold atom is here, and all these alpha particles are scattered in different directions. You can see most of the alpha particles are scattered at lower angles, but these two are scattered at large angles. So this observation is found. So such a large angle scattering could not be explained by making use of atomic model proposed by Thomson. So at that time, only the Thomson's model was present, which has thrown some light about the atomic models. So the Thomson's model, as you know, uh, it is the it is the Plum's model. Hmm? So that says that cake, it is like plums and cake. Hmm? So, so the plums are embedded in the cake. So in the similar manner, an atom is there. So that was the that was the model proposed by Thomson. But in order to, so what happened? This using this the Thomson model, the peoples could not explain why the some alpha particles are scattered at a larger angle. So this was the biggest problem at that time, and in order to explain this phenomenon, Rutherford proposed a new model, which is called as Rutherford's atomic model. So Rutherford's atomic model proposed by him in 1911 is like this. He tells that the entire positive charge of an atom and almost its entire mass are contained within a very small sphere at the center. So Rutherford tells that the entire positive charge of the atom is present over a small sphere at the center of the atom, and the entire mass of the atom is also because of the entire mass concentrated on the small sphere which is present at the center of the sphere. So this positively charged heavy core is known as the nucleus, and since alpha particles are also positively charged ones, those who approach this nucleus very closely experience a greatest electrostatic repulsion from the nucleus, and hence they scatter at larger angles. Here, a basic simple phenomena is taking place where the two positively charged particles are interacting with each other. One is the nucleus of the target material, which is also which has the positively charged nucleus, and another one is the incoming alpha particle, which is also a positively charged particle. So, as due to the basic properties of the electrostatic, the like charges repel each other, and unlike charges attract each other. So, because of that reason, here both are the like charges, both are charged positively. Because of that reason, they repel each other. When the approach is a closest one, they repel with each other at a greatest force. Because of that reason, some of the alpha particles are scattered at a larger angle. So Rutherford also proposed a theory for this scattering experiment, a theoretical explanation. He also gave the theoretical explanation for this phenomenon. So the force experienced by the alpha particle is a central force varying inversely as the square of its distance from the nucleus. So here the force acting on the incoming alpha particle is a central force. So that force always try to bring the particle at the center of the sphere, and this the magnitude of this force is inversely is varying inversely as the square of its distance from the nucleus. So it is known from the laws of mechanics that the trajectory of a particle acted upon such a force is always a conic one. So you can see again in this figure, the alpha particle experiment is shown with ray diagram. So in this diagram, at the position F, we have kept the gold atom, and that means the nucleus. The plus Ze is the charge, positive charge on the nucleus of this gold atom, and this alpha particle is initially here. At a, so you think that this alpha particle is coming from a large distance, and ZSE is the charge on this alpha particle. So what happens when the distance between this nucleus and this alpha particle is sufficiently high? At that time, what happens? The path traced out by this alpha particle will be a straight line. So, uh, when this alpha particle is approaching closer and closer to this nucleus, that time what happens? The electrostatic repulsive force starts acting between these two, and this since this alpha particle is a free one, it is coming freely in this direction. It is pushed away from this nucleus of the gold atom. So because of that reason, initially the path of the alpha particle was straight line, But as soon as it come under the repulsive force of this nucleus, its path is start deviating in this direction, and it is deflected away from the nucleus, and lastly it reaches the point point A dash. So when the alpha particle is at this point, this is at the closest distance of this nucleus. Then what happens? Again, the particle will be moving in this direction along this path, and the alpha particle is going away and away from this nucleus, and because of that reason, the repulsive force acting on that alpha particle also starts decreasing, and when the alpha particle is somewhere here, its path again become almost a straight line. So that is why the path traced out by the alpha particle in this experiment is an hyperbola, as it is very clear from this diagram. So here A dash, P dash is an hyperbola traced out by the alpha particle. So this F and F dash are the foci of this hyperbola, and A dash is the vertex of this hyperbola. And here we have drawn the two asymptotes here. QOR is an asymptote which is parallel to the initial direction of this alpha particle, and another asymptote we have drawn, that is Q dash O R dash is another asymptote which is drawn parallel to the recession path of the alpha particle when it is here. And these two asymptotes makes an equal angle phi with respect to this horizontal line F dash, which is the axis of this hyperbola. And here a angle is created between these two asymptotes. This angle, GO P dash, means this angle theta is created, and this angle theta is called as the scattering angle of the alpha particle. And here a perpendicular is dropped to the asymptote QOR at the point G in such a way that it passes through the position of the nucleus of the gold atom. So the length of this perpendicular, or the magnitude of this perpendicular, is represented as a B, and this B is called as the impact parameter of the alpha particle. So this is the theoretical explanation of this uh, Rutherford's theory of alpha scattering, and for that we will write some equations. Same thing I will read out here once again. The conic will be an ellipse, a parabola, or a hyperbola, depending on whether the initial energy of the alpha particle E is less than 0, E is equal to 0, or E is greater than 0, respectively. So three possibilities are there for any body which is coming under the central force, and so that is why the path traced out by that kind of body could be an ellipse, or it could be a parabola, or it could be an hyperbola, depending upon the energy of the particle. In the present case, the initial energy of the alpha particle is positive, that is E alpha is greater than 0. So its trajectory P A dash P dash is a hyperbola as per theory, with the scattering nucleus located at one of its foci F. So that is why, since the alpha particle is having energy which is greater than 0, initial energy which is greater than 0, it is tracing out an hyperbola, and that scattering nucleus is kept at the position F. Let M and Z dash E where Z dash is equal to 2, which is atomic number of the alpha particle, that is helium, because the alpha particle is nothing but the helium atom, be the mass and charge of the alpha particle. The nucleus is assumed to be infinitely heavy, means the nucleus of the scattering atom. When the alpha particle is at a great distance from the nucleus at F, its path is a straight line, as I explained, and its entire energy is the kinetic energy, which is given by E alpha is equal to half mv square, where m is the mass of the alpha particle and v is the initial velocity of the alpha particle. At this condition, the asymptote QOR coincides with the initial path of the alpha particle, and Fg is equal to B is a perpendicular to the asymptote QOR and passes through the point F where the target nucleus is present, and this quantity B is called as the impact parameter. Next, as the alpha particle approaches the nucleus, its trajectory bends more and more away from F due to the increasing electrostatic repulsion, and finally it reaches the point A dash at a minimum distance from F. It begins to move away from the nucleus along A dash P dash. At a great distance from the nucleus, its path of recession coincides with the another asymptote R dash O Q dash of the hyperbola. This also I have explained, and the angle ROQ dash, between the two asymptotes QOR and R dash OQ dash is called the angle of scattering, and the two asymptotes are equally inclined at an angle phi to the axis F dash of the hyperbola. So next, when the alpha particle is at A dash, which is the vertex of this hyperbola, it experiences a maximum of electrostatic repulsive force, and let F A dash distance. F A dash means the distance between the nucleus and the vertex of the hyperbola is Q. The potential energy of the alpha particle at A dash is given by this equation: V is equal to ZE into Z dash E divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q. So this is the standard equation for potential, which is given here, and where epsilon is the absolute permittivity of the free space. The velocity Vm of the alpha particle at A dash is the minimum, because when the alpha particle is at A dash, it will be at closest distance and it is repelled more by the nucleus, so its velocity decreases less to a minimum level. Its kinetic energy at this point is Ek is equal to half mvm square. So therefore, the total energy of the alpha particle is equal to Ek plus V, kinetic energy and plus potential energy. Substitute the values of these two. Ek is equal to half mvm square plus V is equal to this one, and the initial energy of the alpha particle is E is equal to 1 by 2 mv square. So when the alpha particle is at A dash, uh, whatever the kinetic energy is there, that is converting into the potential energy. So the total energy will be equal to that. So that therefore we are equating equations 2 and 3. So equation 3 is there. This is equation 2. Equate, and 2 get cancels on both sides, and here mv square is equal to no, I am taking this term to the LHS, it becomes minus is equal to Vm square. And next, in the LHS side, you take common this mv square term, so that this mu square comes down here in the second term. So this is under bracket is equal to m into Vm square. So here you can cancel the capital M, which is the mass of the alpha particle, on both sides, and uh, next you take Yeah, next, you take v square to the RHS. So the equation becomes Vm square divided by V square is equal to 1 minus Z dash is square divided by 2 pi epsilon naught M U square into Q. So this is the equation for the linear momentum of the alpha particle at a great distance is mv along the line QOR, which is an asymptote here, and hence its initial angular momentum is given by mv. Actually, initial angular momenta it is not momentum. So it is given by the linear momentum multiplied by the perpendicular distance. So this is mv is equal to b because b is the perpendicular distance here. Similarly, at A dash, the linear momentum mvm of the alpha particle is perpendicular to the axis f dash of the hyperbola. So when the particle is at A dash, the linear momentum will be minimum and of the alpha particle and is perpendicular. The linear momentum at this point is perpendicular to the axis f dash of the hyperbola. So that its angular momentum at this point is given by mvm into perpendicular distance. So mvm into perpendicular distance f a dash is a q from the figure. So from the law of conservation of angular momentum, we have the linear, the initial momenta is equal to the final momenta. So I am equating equations 5 and 6. So this is the equation 7. By properties of the hyperbola and from the figure we write OF is equal to OF dash is equal to epsilon into OA dash. This is from the theory of hyperbola, or OA dash is equal to OF by E. Let this is equation 8. Where this epsilon is greater than 1 is called as the eccentricity at the hyperbola. Then Q is equal to F A dash uh, uh, from earlier equations. So F A dash is made up of two line segments, that is OF plus OA dash. So this is equal to OF plus OA dash. I will substitute the value of OA dash from equation 8, that is OF by E, and take OF common here, it becomes 1 plus 1 by epsilon. So Q is equal to OF multiplied by 1 plus 1 by E. This is the equation 9. Then also from the theory of conics, we know that 1 by epsilon is equal to cos phi. So substitute this value of 1 by E into equation 9. So the equation 9 becomes Q is equal to OF into 1 plus 1 by E was there. In place of 1 by E, you are substituting cos phi. So it becomes 1 plus cos phi. Let this is equation 10. Then from the diagram, sin phi, that means from the triangle FGO, the triangle is here. Just I will show you in the diagram. Here, from the triangle FGO, from it is a right angle triangle because this is the perpendicular. So angle phi is here. I am taking sin phi. Sin phi is opposite side divided by hypotenuse. So by making use of the standard definition of the sin phi, we can write. Let me come to that point. We are here. Yes, we are here. From the diagram, from the triangle FGO, sin phi is equal to opposite side divided by hypotenuse. FG is B from the diagram, so it is YF. So R, I can write this as YF is equal to B divided by sin phi. Now we have to substitute equation 11 into equation 10. Equation 10 becomes Q is equal to B into 1 plus cos phi divided by sin phi. We have substituted the value of YF. Then from equation 7, mvb is equal to mvm into q, means the final angular momentum is equal to the initial angular. Sorry, this is the this is equal to this is the final, and this is initial angular momentum. We have equated both, and we can cancel the capital M, mass of the alpha particle, on both sides. So this equation becomes B by Q is equal to Vm by V. So this is equal to, from equation 12, B by Q, Q by B is equal to 1 plus cos phi divided by sin phi is there, but here B by Q is there. So this you have to take reciprocal. So it becomes sin phi divided by 1 plus cos phi. And squaring this equation 12, it becomes Vm square divided by V square is equal to sin square phi divided by 1 plus cos whole square. So now there are two equations for Vm square by V square, that is they are the equations 4 and 13. So we have to equate equation 4 and 13. So this is equation 4 and this is equation 13. We have equated. We simplify this equation RHS like this. Sin square phi is written as 1 minus cos square phi, and this 1 minus cos square phi can be written as 1 square minus cos square phi, and this thing can be written as 1 minus cos phi into 1 plus cos phi. Then what happens, this 1 plus cos phi, 1 plus cos phi get cancelled. So you are left with 1 minus cos phi divided by 1 plus cos phi. On LHS side, this term is there. And now you substitute the value of this q from equation 12. So this becomes like this. Then what happens, so this term you take rearrange the term. So this goes to RHS, this goes to LHS, and writing this first. So this equation becomes equal to 1 minus 1 minus cos phi divided by 1 plus cos phi. You simplify this one like this, and 1 get cancelled, and it becomes 2 cos phi divided by 1 plus cos phi. And now you see this 1 plus cos phi, 1 plus cos phi is there on both sides. You cancel it, and we want the expression for B. You take this B to the RHS, and this cos phi comes to LHS. It goes down, and it becomes sin phi divided by cos phi. So that is tan phi. So therefore, B equals ZZS E square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. And this 2 also goes down. That is why this 2 pi becomes 4 pi. 4 pi epsilon naught m V square multiplied by tan phi is equal to B. Also, again from the equation, from the diagram, uh, phi plus theta by 2 is equal to 90 degree. So what happens, 5 plus theta by 2, this also I can show, but I have to go up. It is very simple. If you go on to go top and just getting clear from the diagram that 5 plus theta by 2 is equal to 5 by 2, or phi is equal to 5 by 2 minus theta by 2, and then tan of phi is equal to tan of 5 by 2 minus theta by 2, taking tan on both sides of this equation, and this becomes tan phi. Tan phi is equal to cot theta by 2, because it is 5 by 2, change of angle is there. So 5 by 2 plus or minus theta is change angle, so tan becomes cot. So it is cot of theta by 2, and substitute the value of tan phi into equation 14. We got lastly B is equal to Z square E square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught m V square into cot of theta by 2. This tan phi was there. Tan phi was written as a cot of theta by 2. So this is a very, very important expression for the impact parameter. So in the next class, I will going to derive the Rutherford's scattering formula, and just you switch over to the next class. Thank you.